Imagine this. Africa's oldest republic, Liberia, born in 1847, once a proud experiment of independence, once a symbol of African possibility, now knocking on the door of the Sahel Alliance. But here's the shock. Not Paris, not Washington, not London. No. In January 2025, Liberia's top diplomat walked into Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, and asked for something history never prepared us for: help, guidance, partnership, and not from just any leader. From Ibrahim Traore, the 36-year-old soldier who in less than 3 years has turned Burkina Faso into the beating heart of African sovereignty. The question is simple but electrifying. Why would Liberia, Africa's first independent republic, turn to Burkina Faso, a nation once dismissed as poor and unstable? The answer, my friends, reveals not just a diplomatic visit, but a turning point in Africa's history. Because what Liberia asked for could change the balance of power across the continent. This isn't just diplomacy. This is a story of redemption, a story of reversal, a story of how Africa's oldest republic sought strength in Africa's youngest revolutionary leader. The arrival in Ouagadougou. It was January 31, 2025. The Harmattan winds carried red dust across Ouagadougou's skies. At the airport, a modest plane from Monrovia landed quietly. No Western media covered it. No big motorcade. But inside that plane was Sarah Baisalo Nyanti, Liberia's foreign minister. A seasoned diplomat, UN veteran, and one of Liberia's most respected voices. Her mission? Officially, to discuss Liberia's campaign for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for 2026-2027. But unofficially, something much deeper. Because as she stepped off the plane, whispers already spread across the city. Liberia has come to ask Traoré for help. Think about the irony. For decades, Liberia was seen as Washington's foothold in West Africa. Firestone rubber plantations tied its economy to American corporations. U.S. military agreements gave it strategic weight. During the Cold War, Monrovia was practically a listening post for the CIA. And yet here was Liberia, turning not to Washington, but to Ouagadougou. The closed-door meeting. Inside the modest presidential palace, stripped of colonial extravagance, Foreign Minister Nyanti met President Ibrahim Traore. The cameras captured the handshake. Smiles, flags, press flashes. But what happened after the doors closed was far more revealing. Nyanti spoke first. "Mr. President, Liberia seeks your support. Not just for the United Nations. We seek something bigger. We want to be part of what you are building with Mali and Niger. We want to join the Sahel Alliance." The room went silent. Traoré leaned forward, his eyes steady. He knew the weight of this request. Joining the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, the security pact forged by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger in 2023, was not just military cooperation. It was a declaration of independence from French influence. It was a rejection of foreign control. It was a new chapter in Pan-Africanism. For Liberia to request this, it was like a circle of history closing. Why Liberia came. To understand why, you must know Liberia's history. Founded by freed African Americans in the 19th century, Liberia stood as a symbol of black freedom. But over time it became entangled in dependency. Civil wars ravaged it in the 1990s and early 2000s. Foreign corporations carved its resources. Political leaders often leaned on Washington more than Monrovia's people. By 2025, Liberia faced new struggles. Economic strain from foreign debt, unemployment among restless youth, fear of instability creeping back into West Africa, and most of all, the desire to belong to something bigger than being a pawn in global politics. That's why Nyanti's words mattered. This wasn't just about UN votes. This was about repositioning Liberia in a rapidly changing Africa. Traoré's response. Traoré listened, silent. Then he spoke with calm fire. "Liberia is Africa's oldest republic, yet you come here not as masters, but as brothers and sisters. The Sahel Alliance is not a club of power. It is a covenant of dignity. If you join, you join not just for security, but for sovereignty." He paused, then added, "But know this. The road is not easy. France will resist. Washington will pressure. The IMF will threaten. Are you ready for that?" Nianti replied without hesitation, "We are tired of fear. We are tired of dependency. Liberia would rather suffer indignity than prosper in chains." At that moment, something shifted. For the first time in history, Liberia's plea for help was not directed overseas, but across African soil. The shocking reversal. Here's the irony that shocked historians. In the 1990s, during Liberia's brutal civil war, Burkina Faso had been accused of meddling, of arming factions. At the time, Ouagadougou was seen as part of Liberia's instability. Now in 2025, Liberia was asking Ouagadougou for stability. It was a stunning reversal, proof that history is never fixed. It bends, it twists, and sometimes it flips entirely. The Sahel Alliance debate. The request sparked fierce debate inside the Sahel Alliance. Mali's leaders asked, "Liberia is far from the Sahel. Do they truly share our struggle?" Niger's generals wondered, "Will bringing them in spread our resources too thin?" Burkina Faso's advisors whispered, "This could either strengthen us or invite more enemies." But Traoré saw opportunity. The Sahel Alliance cannot just be a geographic bloc. It must be an idea. If Liberia joins, the idea spreads from the desert to the coast, from landlocked nations to the Atlantic Ocean. Then Africa will see. Sovereignty is not regional. It is continental. The epic vision. From here, the story takes on an epic turn. Imagine it. A corridor of sovereignty stretching from the Sahara down to the Atlantic coast of Liberia. When news leaked that Liberia was considering joining the Sahel Alliance, Western diplomats went into panic mode. In Washington, officials warned that Monrovia risks isolating itself from international support. In Paris, analysts called it a dangerous drift toward anti-Western populism. In Brussels, the EU quietly considered suspending aid. But in Monrovia's streets, the reaction was different. Young Liberians painted murals. "Liberia plus Sahel for freedom." Students chanted, "No more pawns. We choose our own path." And in markets, women said simply, "At last, Africa talks to Africa." Now it's your turn. Do you think the Sahel Alliance partners will accept Liberia's request? Is this move the beginning of Africa's true awakening? And will Liberia be able to withstand the pressure from the Western world? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters in this conversation about Africa's future.